Well, hey boys, we're back with another video, and this video is going to be the full step-by-step breakdown of how to charm the spell order, AA order, the clickies, just the whole thing that I use for a CoV Tier 2 named burn. You can see our target, it's Milos. We're in sleepers, and I'm just going to let him pass by. Okay. Just spawned him right now. Had to do a little prep work. I had to clear this mob about 4 times before I could get him to spawn as a charmable mob. Okay, boys, so CoV Tier 2 bosses require 750,000 DPS over the course of 5.5 to 6 minutes. So the higher your DPS is, the shorter the fight, obviously. I'm at the point where I can hit 1 million, and normally about 900,000. Without any real effort, I'll do 800 to 850,000. If I get good random number, it'll be 1.1. I think the last video I did, obviously it won't be out for another month or so, was in Sky Shrine, and it was 1.1 million. So what that requires is a charmable pet. Charmable pets we use with our AA skill Dire Charm. When activated, charms a level 113 or lower undead creature with 0 chance to break for 6 minutes. That's why I often reference this as a 6-minute burn. So in most dungeons, you're going to have to use a 113 mob, and you might have to clear it a while before you can get something that works for you. And then what you'll do is you'll pull it to where you want it, set it up with darkness. When you pull it, also tag it with Scent of Thule. Now, a lot of my videos, I didn't do that. This is what I've learned over the achieving those hunter achievements and grinding all the Augs and getting all the ore has really dialed me in on this. So you'll pull with darkness, hit Scent, and then Death Effigy to set up the pet, the charmable mob where you want it. And you use Scent because it debuffs fire, magic, corruption. And we use Char Bones to turn live mobs undead. So, darkness to pull, Scent to debuff, Effigy to lock it where you want it. Then, when you're ready to engage, send your swarm skells to the charmable mob. When they hit, and there'll be a delay, that's why you want to use darkness too if you can, because when you hit your swarm pet, it does a direct damage of like 5,000 before the skells actually engage with the pet, with the mob. So watch yourself there. You don't want to get hit. When the skells engage, hit Char Bones. When Char Bones lands, you'll have a blinking skull icon. Then hit Dire Charm. When Dire Charm lands, you have 6 minutes to engage. I would recommend engaging within 30 seconds or less, especially when you're first doing this. Maybe you don't have all your spell focuses maxed. Maybe you're just not comfortable with the routine. You want to engage these mobs with as much time as possible until you get comfortable. I think at the end, if I get good random number, I'm doing it in 240 to 290, almost guaranteed 300 seconds or less. Okay, you've got the pet. You target your named mob. What I do is I press 2 for pet attack because it's snared, so it's going to run a little slow. When it gets close to engaging, the first thing I do is hit Scent of Thule on the name. That should apply 2 debuffs. Then I run and get behind the name because I come from an old school EverQuest. I don't know if it's still true, but when I would raid, oftentimes mobs had area effect or cone attacks, so I always position behind mobs. Run behind the mob, and your first spell is Septic Wounds. It's kind of your timer spell. So you will hit Septic, and then you will immediately hit Silent Cast, and then you will hit what I have as Robe Small Burn, which now I've deleted the previous stuff. I used to have other things on it, but it's just Funeral Pyre. And then you hit Robes, and then you click on your Blightbringer's Tunic, your Anguish Robe. That's your first burn. Now, this robe has a 5-minute recast. So if you engage quickly and you get the robe buff on yourself quickly, you should have a chance with at the end of the fight, if you haven't killed them all, to have a second robe click. Now, it's not a big burn, but it's going to help your crits. So that's why I call it a 3 burn, 6-minute burn, CoV, whatever you want. But in this situation, wounds, silent, robes. And during this time, you only put on dots. And I just start at the top, and I just go down the list. And that's Double Disease, Big Pyre, Oblivion, both poisons, Small Pyre, Broil, Ignite, Composite. I don't care about mana, so I hit Composite. And then during that casting, especially because we're utilizing Funeral Pyre, which reduces the length of your spells, you're going to get blinks. You're going to get Big Pyre and Oblivion first, then you're going to get both your poisons, then I think Ignite, and then it's kind of a mixture. But during this time, your first and most important thing is to pay attention to your wounds icon. It'll be the 3rd icon. When it starts to blink, you move into the second burn, the big burn. But along with that, you're watching for blinks, and you constantly reapply your dots. Just don't wait for, I think it blinks for 3 ticks. Don't wait for that. Keep these on nonstop. Do not use direct damage. Do not use AAs, AA Swarm Pets, because your robes and your funeral only apply to dots. Okay, wound starts to blink. Now is the time where we make up the big difference in our pet's hit points and the named mob. This is our big burn. And if you notice, in all my videos, I was very worried about getting Char Bones to land on the name, to turn it undead, to get sent, to slow it. If you're doing 800,000 plus DPS, you don't need to worry about that. If you're not able to do 800,000, Char Bones whenever you can, but I don't mess with it anymore. Okay, wounds is blinking. We hit our prep, burn, hotkey, which is Torment, Arcanium, Twin Cast. I no longer put pauses in my hotkeys. I just spam them. I click them 3, 4, 10 times, whatever it is. The icons show up in your songs window. I hit prep burn, and then I hit my burn hotkey, which is intensity if it's up, spire, and hand to death. Then I right click our 115 robe, whatever you have. And then it is time to absolutely lay on the dots with Twin Cast and Spire. And I don't start with Z's. I start with Big Pyre. I go 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. And then, this is the first time I will start direct damage. I'll use Assert. if a cert lands, it procs chaotic power, which is another huge increase for our dot damage. When you get chaotic powers to land multiple times during your fight, that's when you easily clear 1,000,000. During this time is when you kind of, I hate to use the term, it's not weaving, but weave in your swarm pets, which for me is going to be Swarm and Rise. We're not going to have any Wake. You can, if you're an OCD weirdo like me, you can actually use these hotkeys to eliminate the recast delay between spells. It's if you hold down, let's say Alt, you hit 3 for Pyre, and you start clicking Swarm. As soon as Swarm starts to cast, start holding down Alt and press 4. If you go from spell to spell, there's a second delay. If you go spell, AA, spell, there's no delay. And Swarm and Rise are half a second or less insta-cast. During this time, you'll want to refresh your dots nonstop. Fit in Assert for Chaotic when you can. You will eventually have wounds, proc to big wounds while you're using this burn. You're going to do a ton of damage. Your big pyre is going to constantly be refreshed. If you get a gift, I know mana doesn't matter, but to me it's just a notifier. If you get a gift, cast pyre, big pyre. When wounds fades off, recast it, because if you are low on your DPS, you will be able to at least have it proc. You might be able to have it proc with your third click of, or your third burn, your second click of the robe. Now, during this big burn, you should go from probably 80-ish, 85% down to 25, 30%. And then it's just a matter of finishing it off. And that is constantly recasting your dots. When you get out of mana, when you get 5%, there's a time where I used to mess with Deathloop. Just hit Blood Magic. If you have a Healer Merc, which you do, then you have unlimited mana, at least as far as a 6-minute fight. The only other thing is that I'm in a guild by myself. All I have is Suffering, Power, and Vision. I keep those on. That's it. You can be rezzed with just self buffs. You can have full guild hall buffs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. In this fight, I will replace Charbones with a duration tap. We'll do Leech, I think, because I don't need to slow this mob, so I'll get a little extra damage there. This fight, because that's an undead mob, I don't have to worry about pulling it, debuffing it, all that. I just hit Dire Charm. As soon as this door opens, I hit Dire Charm, and we're going to start. There's the debuff. I come around, wounds, silent, robe, right click the robe, and start casting. I need to hit debuff again. Now during this, if you want to right click your Tash stick, go ahead. Some of these bosses need them, some of them don't. I will click it after the second poison. It's a little slow. I don't like the length of it, but sometimes you need it for Oblivion. And you want Oblivion on. You can see Big Pyre and Oblivion are already fading. I'm going to go ahead and hit Ignite. I'm going to go back to Big Pyre, and then I'm going to go to Composite, and then back to Oblivion. And now the dots are starting to fade. And I don't want to see any gaps. I'm going to see them, but I don't want to see them. It's just the way this works with Funeral. It reduces the spell time, and it's a real pain in the butt. Pay attention to your Septic. now we're just keeping the dots on them. And our main focus is 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest, they're important. We want them on there, but they're not a deal breaker if we miss them. And we're coming up soon. There it is. Wounds is, so we hit prep. We hit big burn. Right click the rogue. And right away big fire. We're at 80% and we'll see where we get this. We're just going down the list. I'm going to do 5, 6. Composite is up, so I'm going to hit it and then I'm going to go to assert. And hope we get a chaotic. It'll be up here. Got it. Now it's just time to keep the dots back on. Just keep refreshing everything. I'll work in some stuff right now. And that's it, boys. Just keep your eye on your wounds. We're getting low on mana. Wounds just went. Put it back on. It's more of a timing thing. I'm going to go ahead and don't have composite up. I'm going to hit blood magic. We are at 1 million. Now we're down to 980. Just got to keep everything on. You know, with blood magic, we just don't care if we're recasting, if we're double casting. So we're wrapping this up. We're looking good. Just dipped below. We just went back above. We're going to be real close to 1 million DPS. We're not going to get another rogue click, and that's okay. We've done a lot of damage. We've done a lot of damage really fast. So this is a good fight. Looks like we're going to end up with right at 900,000 on the DPS, which is a big number. And there we go, boys. That's it. That is it. You hit Feign Death to send the pet back to wherever you got it from. I've got Gamparse up. I'll click over on it right now, read everything off to you guys. Milos on Rev, time 282, opponent hit points 248 million. Your DPS 901,009. 901,000. You know, for a solo player over just under 5 minutes. That's a significant, that's a lot of damage. And you guys now have the full walkthrough. Yes, there are other clicky rogues to use. You can send the rabbit at 1% because you know what we all thought Ant-Man was going to do to Thanos. You know, that's what the rabbit does. Boys, it takes, you've got to pay attention. This is not something that you can try to macro hotkey a box with doing, because it's nonstop recast over and over. It's watching your blinks. It's making sure you click assert for blood every now and then. It's making sure that when you get a gift, go ahead and refresh Big Pyre, not for the mana, but just so you never have a moment when Big Pyre is off. That's it, boys. That's it. That is a full walkthrough how to charm a pet, how to set up your first burn, your middle, your big burn, and then if there was time at the end, you just right-click your robe one last time. You usually get 30 seconds out of it, which was 6 seconds a tick. So that's 5 ticks. That's huge. You know, that will be at the end when you're worried. That'll help. Now, you guys, if you've watched my videos since all this stuff has started, you saw how difficult it was in the beginning. I didn't have max AAs, and I really feel that having these focuses fully maxed out is key. It really does help. Other than that, I don't even remember if the first fight I was smart enough to use robes as my first burn and then go to the big burn. I don't know if I utilized chaotic power the way I should. There's just things I've picked up as I've done these kills, and I've laid it out for you. You can do 1,000,000 DPS if random number hits for a 5-minute turn, and that's group damage. There's no other, that is group damage, and that's what a solo Necromancer can do. And it has nothing to do with the gear. It's nothing to do with the buffs. Even if your mana pool is 220,000, it doesn't matter because you have blood magic. I mean, boys, there it is for you all. I'm not exaggerating, I've had a dozen people get on test and ask me for this video. I've had many comments wanting to know how does this go down. I've had direct messages on Reddit, and I should have had this out earlier, but I wanted to get all those kill library videos taken care of, and here we go. Got it out for you boys now. If you have any questions, the best way is to jump on test and send me a tell, but feel free to leave a comment below. I try to respond to everything, but I think this one's pretty detailed. Sorry we're at 23 minutes, but we're wrapping it up. So boys, I know you learned something from this video. There's no way you didn't. Even if you have your own burn set up, here's another way to go at it. If you were confused, if you weren't sure what my hotkeys were, I showed you everything. And guys, that's it. That's how you take these things down. And any 115 necro can do it. Anyone can. And if you're on test, there's a lot of necros that are, hit me up with any questions, or if you want me to, hang out. I've walked a few people through some kills already. It's pretty awesome. That's what this game, for me it's a solo game, but for me it's the Necromancer community, and that's what this game has always been about, is helping each other out, and I hope I've done that. So boys, next video, probably the next expansion, but you've got a tremendous amount of how to spawn, how to kill videos coming out, because that content's queued up forever. So even though I might not have anything new for you right away, there's plenty of new content coming, I think, till the end of the year, basically. And by then, the next expansion should be available, and I'll get to work on those. So boys, hit me up with questions, and I will see you in the next video.